So now, is this the stuff that we actually saw this morning?
Yeah, we've got the actual spreader device inside the program.
Oh, okay.
We've got that working. And our big challenge right now is to crunch metal.
Right, right.
That's something that has to do with physics, and we're trying to figure out the best way to do that.
Wow, that's awesome.
In our program. So this is Adrian Harrington. He's our lead programmer on this project.
Thanks, Adrian. So yeah, I guess if you want to just throw it up on the slightly larger screen, maybe make it easier for you.
We've got it raining there in the scenario.
Right, that's what we saw this morning. So you're using your Xbox game controller.
Yep.
That's excellent. Wow.
So you just start it up and then...
Isn't that amazing?
So what we'll do now that we have video is we'll use the video, we'll sit down, we'll take screenshots of the video to provide a storyboard to Adrian where he can incorporate how that metal bends, breaks, where the entry points are on the vehicle to insert the spreader, so on and so forth. So right now we're in prototype stage, but now that we've gotten the information we need to get, now we can continue our work and actually make it much more realistic and turn it from prototype more into a finished product for the training scenario.
Right, and even this morning, I guess it's important, this morning the first thing that they started to look at when the cutter broke is that the cutter may have been on an angle. And that's really important that it's straight. It's like a pair of scissors, as they explain, that if you cut something on its side, the pieces spread apart and snap.
Yeah, and we could have feedback options happen. So if you insert that in an improper manner, we could make the controller vibrate.
Right.
Say that's incorrect. Or we could have the spreader even vibrate the controller and turn red on the screen.
Wow.
To say that that's the improper insertion method.
Right, right. So they can practice all this far before they ever start using the real tool, you know.
One of the fun things about doing stuff at Javelin Reality is you get to learn a whole bunch of new tools, new processes. And what we've been learning with the Homultro, especially with new cars, is that there's a ton of airbags that you have to take into consideration when you use that Homultro device.
Right.
Because airbags could pop like at the top of the car or... And you have to be conscious of new car designs as you use these tools so that the fireman doesn't get hurt.
Yeah, I never even thought of that. Yeah, because the first thing that you see in Volkswagen is where they have those side impact airbags, but along the strip of the roll bar. And I could see how that would be a problem if they're cutting through the roll bar. You know,
could hurt the fireman or the victim. So
because they come out violently. Like, I mean, once they go, they go. Yeah. That's amazing. Wow. Do we have to wreck a Bentley, though? Do we have to? Out of all cars to wreck. Yeah, no, that's real interesting. So this is just what we saw today. That's how fast that is. That's amazing. How many hours does it take to kind of go from concept to final product? Are we looking at years, months,
This
weeks?
is months. This project should take approximately 6 or 7 months.
Wow. But I'm sure it's going to be hugely valuable because, as you said this morning, to get cars constantly, there's a huge cost to that. So are they looking at this as being a cost-saving measure as well as a training-saving measure? Or are they not so concerned about the cost-saving and they're just saying we can train all the time and use different scenarios?
Well, it can be used for a training scenario, but it can also, you're dead on with the money aspect, it can also be used for marketing and sales, because once you create the scenario, you can now incorporate it on the web as an installable product, incorporate it with any kind of marketing campaign that you want, attached to a QR code, that kind of thing.
Right,
so it's kind of like a one cost for multiple platform solution across your company.
Right, so this could be used really for any fire department around the world.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Homultro themselves can use it as a differentiator at a trade show, put it on an iPad and say, okay, well, here's what makes our product different than the competition.
That's amazing. Well, thanks very much, guys. That's really informative and extremely high tech, so that's wonderful. Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Hi, and welcome back. Well, we're here with Marguerite Zimmerman, and we're going to learn about games-based training. And this is something that is really up and coming, especially in the digital world. So there's a few questions that I would like to ask Marguerite. First of all, what inspired you to do the games-based training? Because there's been a huge shift, of course, in people going away from traditional going to a seminar for 3 or 4 days or reading a manual, which is very boring. And what catapults you into this new realm? What makes you different?
Very good, thank you. Well, the first thing is, in terms of what inspired me was I actually really got frustrated and felt really bad for my clients. Really, the real driver started off in the sales side. We all know that sales is the lifeblood of business, and we all need sales. And yet every year, organizations face high risk in hiring somebody who is not prepared to be in the business of sales. They have had real issues with being able to have them all travel in and get training. And of course, seminar-based training has been proven to only give short-term results. So what organizations have had a tough time doing is really build new habits and really help people to both retain it and be able to use what they've learned. So I was so frustrated for them and thought there had to be a better way, and that really was the driver. Like, how can we help people to train people who haven't planned to be in sales? How can we help get them inspired and get them to really enjoy being in the industry? Get them confident and competent so they don't run out of confidence before they shy away from the business. And help them to do that in an affordable and sustainable way. And that was the real driver for me.
Wow, that's fantastic. I remember a long time ago, it's something kind of near to my heart, where I was in sales and there was someone who could sell anything. And I asked him one time, like, how did you become a great salesman? He goes, this is the only industry where we're told to sell and never told how to sell. And that was really an eye-opener, because it was so very true. And this obviously takes them into that next realm where you're training them how to be better salespeople, and not even salespeople, just know what to do when a situation occurs. So is it okay that you show us maybe some of those things that you're doing? I'd love to see some of that live.
Absolutely, happy to do that. So the first thing we really want to do is we want to create a motivation, a desire for somebody to learn. So we have a scoreboard. And the goal is for you go in and you actually use a player name, and so you decide on what alias you'd like to be under, and you establish your name. And these are the individuals that are the top on the board for anybody that's been playing on our sales system today. And these are also the top teams. So they set up departments and they set up teams, and one team will compete against another team. So for instance, because it's also used in schools, in some of the schools, they'll split the class into two and they'll have one team against the other team. Or the departments, or divisions, one division against the other. And it creates for added motivation. And then after they've done some pre-assessment, so we understand where their strengths and weaknesses are and what their style is in terms of how they communicate, they actually go into the system and they start to play. And the system is set up that everything is case-based. And what that means is it's all about, every case is a business problem. And we believe sales, is really all about business, and it is a business problem. So every, if you need to increase your sales, it is a business challenge, it's a business problem. So each week they would face, the concept of the system is that they would play one of these scenarios every week. And they would literally go in and open the opportunity, move it forward, and close it. So I'll take you in and give you a sense of how that feels.
That'd be great.
It's actually kind of fun. So I thought maybe we would do the second one here. And this lady, Christy, is a little bit, she's from a company called Kraken Web Design, and you've already been asked by your trainer to go out and get to make 2 cold calls and get a client in a particular sector. So we've now got the appointment and we're going in to see Christy. Okay, so just to set up the scenario.
Perfect.
So the really neat thing is you have to both gain the knowledge and you have to be able to use what you've learned. So you have to be able to put it into practice, and you've got to actually pass at it. And if you don't pass, you have to keep trying until you get it.
I see.
So unlike traditional e-learning, or what I've often called e-boring.
Yes, I like that word, because quite often it is.
We don't start off with your objectives and what you're going to learn. You start off with a call to action. You start off with a business problem.
I see.
Hello, Zach. This is Oliver Campbell. You did a great job getting an appointment with Kraken Web Design.
Copy, Oliver. What's my mission today?
Your challenge today is to ensure that Christy understands the scope of her problem and the importance of taking action. Your sales mentor will give you feedback immediately after the call. Before you go, stop by the coaching academy to get the tools that you'll need to accomplish your mission. We need you, Zach.
Understood. I'm on my way.
Perfect.